Today we will see object selection method in AutoCAD. The selection method is used to select individual objects. It can also be used to select a particular objects from a group. Picking drawing elements becomes difficult sometimes as most of the tools require it. The selection method makes the process of selecting drawing elements easier. Cross window selection. It is also called as green selection because the selection area looks green in color. We need to move our cursor from right to left. The object in the selection only needs to be touched by the selection lines. Box selection. It is also called as blue selection because the selection area looks blue in color. We need to move our cursor from left to right. The object in this selection needs to be fully covered by the selection window, otherwise the object will not be selected. Fence selection. The fence selection is performed by specifying the fence which touches the object to be selected. To activate the fence selection, the steps are listed below. Type F on the command line, press enter. Specify the fence on the objects. We can specify as many endpoints by clicking on it. Press enter after finishing. Previous selection. To activate the previous selection, type P in the command line or command prompt. It will select the previously selected objects or entities. Last selection. To activate the last selection, type L in the command line or command prompt. It will select the last created or latest created objects in the current viewport. All selection. It is used to select all the objects present on the viewport except those objects on which frozen or locked layers are applied. Type all on the command line being in the selection mode to activate the selection process. If we want to remove some objects after all selection, press shift key and select the objects to be removed. Lasso selection. The lasso selection is similar to cross or box selection. We can select the objects in any shape. If we drag the pointer to the right, it will be the box selection. The image for such an example is given below. The multiple selection. The multiple selection allows selecting individual objects without being highlighted during the selection process. We need to type M in the command line or command prompt to activate it. Remove selection. It allows removing the selected objects. We need to type R in the command line being in the selection mode to activate the remove selection. Add selection. It reverses the removal of the selected objects and adds them to the current selection set. We need to type A in the command line being in the selection mode to activate the add selection. Now there are types of selection mode. First is cross window selection, second box selection, third fence selection, fourth previous selection, fifth last selection, sixth all selection, seventh lasso selection, eighth fast selection, 9 window polygon selection, 10 crossing window polygon selection, 11 multiple selection, 12 group selection, 13 remove selection and 14 add selection. Now we will see cross selection. Cross window selection. Move the cursor from left to right. The objects in the selection only needs to be touched by the selection line. Okay, then the objects get selected. In this way, cross selection can be done. Box selection. Move the cursor from right to left. The object in this selection needs to be fully covered. So the object should be fully covered by the selection window, otherwise the object will not be selected. Fence selection. For fence selection, the selection is performed by specifying the fence which touches the objects to be selected. Type move or go to type M in command line and type F in it. F enter. Now select the object. Enter. So the fence, the cursor as I have moved, the objects have been selected. Previous selection. To activate the previous selection, type P in the command line or command prompt. It will select the previous selected objects or entities. Go to move, type P, enter. So the previous selected objects can be selected. Last selection. To activate the last selection, type L in the command line or command prompt. It will select the last created or latest created objects in the current viewport. Now if I draw a circle and go to move command and select type L in the command line. So this one is the one object which was latest created by me. So this one gets selected. The circle gets selected. Next is all selection. It is used to select all the objects present in the viewport except those objects on which frozen or locked layers are applied. Type all in the command line being in the selection mode to activate the selection process. If you want to remove some objects after the all selection, press the shift key and select the objects to be removed. Go to move command, type all, enter. All objects are selected. If you want to remove the selected some selected objects, press shift key and select the objects. Then lasso selection. Lasso selection is similar to the cross and box selection. We can select the objects in any shape. If we drag the pointer to the right, it will be the box selection. If we drag the pointer to the left, it will be the cross selection. This is how lasso selection has been done. Then fast select selection. It selects the objects transparently. All the objects touching it will be selected. To activate it, type FS on the command line, select the object and press enter after finishing. It increases the speed of selection. You can also select objects individually. Type FS in the command line and start selecting the entities. Then window polygon selection. The window polygon selection is similar to the window selection method, but here we can define an unlimited points for a particular window. Type move or M on the command line. Now type WP on the command line. Then drag the cursor This is how window polygon selection has been done. Enter. Crossing window polygon selection. The crossing window polygon selection is similar to the cross selection method, but here you can define an unlimited point for a particular window. Type move or M on the command line. Now type CP on the command line. Specify the first polygon point, specify the end of that line. Touch the objects in the selection area. By clicking the endpoints around the objects, we need to ensure the polygon segment. First go to move command, type CP, enter. is how crossing window polygon selection can be done. Multiple selection. A multiple selection allows selecting individual objects without being highlighted during the selection process. Need to type M in the command line or command prompt to activate it. First type M, enter, then again type M, enter, then start selecting the object. Enter. This is how multiple selection can be done. Group selection method. The group selection method selects the group name. Example, if I take this rectangle and this rectangle and right click and go to group, this is how group has been created. This is how group selection can be done. Remove selection. It allows removing the selected objects. We need to type R in the command line being in the selection mode to activate the remove selection. Go to move command, type R, enter, remove object. First select the object and to remove it, go to move command, type R, enter, this is how remove selection can be done. Add selection. It reverses the remove of the selected objects and adds them to the current selection set. We need to type A in the command line being in the selection mode to activate the add selection. M, enter, A, enter. Select objects, enter. This is how add selection can be done. So these are types of selection, object selection methods in AutoCAD.